Find ourselves standing at the front of the mat again. And when we're ready, we're going to step our front foot, that left foot, all the way to the back of the mat, finding ourselves in that high lunge. And inhale the hands nice and high. Exhale, sink through the hips here. Now, our feet look like they're on a railroad track. And by that I mean if we slid that back foot up, we're not lined up right behind that foot. We would be hip distance. So if we slowly slid it back, whoop, we would be on that railroad track. Back heel is lifted high so that we're working that back leg. Hips are sinking, front knee is right over the ankle. Inhale. Exhale, sink lower. All right. So slowly drop the hands so they're reaching straight out. Inhale, reach the hands high, straighten that front leg. Exhale, sink lower. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sink. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale. One more. Exhale. So we're going to twist again. Come up with those hands. If we didn't do so on the first video, this might be our first twist. And then from here, we're going to slowly bring that elbow to the top of that thigh. Bend the elbows here. This is what we will look like. Ooh. So if our thumbs are near our armpits, we're going to take that top hand, press it harder into our bottom so our hands are closer to our heart center. We're breathing here and working with each breath. Nice deep inhale. Exhale to drop our hips a little lower. Maybe deepen that twist. Back heel still lifted. Slowly release that twist. Hands on either side of that foot. Take the right foot to the sky. Shake it out. And then when we're ready, lift the toes higher and then square the front of that hip down. So if our right hip is peeled open towards the right edge of our mat or right side of the room, drop that hip down, lift the toes higher, and slowly drop the toes towards the mat and then lift back up. Squeeze that glute. Slowly dropping it and then lift those toes. We're doing 5, nice and slow. Slowly dropping. Slowly lifting. We got 2 more. Lift. Slowly drop. And then lift. Shift forward into our plank. Drop the foot or keep it lifted, chaturanga. Drop that foot, flip our other, upward facing dog. Now squeeze the glutes, press away through the hands, and lift the crown of the head, that top of the head towards the sky, the ceiling, and then flip our feet back, downward facing dog. So same side, inhale those right toes up. Sweep that right foot all the way up to the front of the mat. Hips are low. Slowly come on up. We're going to find our balance up here in this right foot. So reach the hands back by the hips real quick. Bend that back leg and then tiptoe, transfer the weight into that foot. Finding our balance here in Warrior 3 for a second before we start to hinge at our hips. Lift that knee. Come up with the knee. Come up with the hands. And breathe here. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. One more inhale. Exhale. Stay here or slowly twist open towards that bent leg. Take our time. Reaching the hands in opposite directions. When we're ready, when we've gotten about 3 to 5 breaths in, we're going to slowly drop that foot, drop our hand, come back up. Exhale, sit our hips back, reach the fingertips forward. Now, roll the weight back towards the heels, lift and wiggle the toes. Take that pelvis, tuck it under just a little bit to feel the low belly work. And then bring the hands back, lift the heels. Drop the heels, sweep back. It's almost like we're in a little rocking chair as we lift our heels and then we lift our toes. All right. Hey, let's hold this one. Drop through the hips. Again, make sure that our tailbone's not trying to pop up. Tuck the tailbone underneath a little bit. And when we're ready, just hold. Feel the shaking in the legs. Slowly drop the heels, sweep those hands forward. Another 3 to 5 breaths. But again, retract the shoulder blades together. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Sink lower. All right, inhale, come all the way up. Release the hands. We're going to come up again this time. Lift that right leg. Inhale, come up. We're going to hinge at the hips. Slowly kick that foot back. If we stepped back, but we know we can go farther, keep going. Tiptoe, drop through the hips. Hands come up. And exhale, sink. So really work into those legs. Feel the quads activate, the glutes activate, and take the feet and pull them like they're coming towards each other. Railroad track feet here. Release the hands so the shoulder height, palms face the sky. Inhale, straighten that front leg, squeeze the glutes still. Exhale back down. Inhale up. Exhale down. So work with that breath. Inhale. One more inhale up. Exhale. And when we're ready, bring both hands towards the sky. Press our palms together and then slice like we're chopping, right? Bring that right elbow to the top or outside of that left thigh. And when we're ready, so if our knee needs to come down here, if that was really hard to balance, that can come down. And we're going to press our palms together. Notice how our thumbs are near the armpits. Press harder into that top hand, deepening our twist. We're going to be here for about 3 to 5 breaths. Maybe our hips come lower with each exhale. Maybe our hands come closer to heart center with each exhale, so we deepen that twist. When we're ready, slowly release that twist. Hands on either side of the foot. Take that foot all the way to the sky. Hands are shoulders distance. Shake that leg out. Now, if we're not sure where we are in our down dog, if we're too close or too far, if we shift forward into our plank, we shouldn't be too far. Or if we shifted forward, our hips shouldn't be too high. It should be perfectly nice straight plank board. Inhale up. And like we did on the other side, point the toes, square the hip down so the front of the hip bone is pointing towards our mat. Lift those toes high. Standing leg can bend a little if we need. Slowly tap the top of the foot and then lift, squeeze that glute. Slowly tap and lift and squeeze. Slow, controlled motions here. With each lift, really squeeze that glute. Last one here. Now, shift forward into that plank. Shoulders past the wrist. Chaturanga. Drop that foot. Flip our other. Upward facing dog. Hold it here. Now, squeeze the glutes. Press away through the hands. Only our hands and the tops of our feet should be on the mat here. If our knees need to be done, that's okay. But we're not letting our hips and our thighs drop and compressing and dumping into that low back. We're staying nice and strong here. Flipping back. Downward facing dog. Same side, right? Take a breath real quick. And then from here, slowly lift up our left toes. And exhale, bring that foot all the way to the front of the mat. Using our hand to help it if we need. Taking our time, sinks through the hips. Slowly come on up. Hips drop. Back heel lifts nice and high. Inhale. Exhale, come towards the inside of that thigh. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Bend that knee. Press off, finding our warrior 3. And slowly hinge at the hips. Lifting that knee up. Arms can stay up for balance. Maybe we reach them up high. Breathing. Standing leg is not locked out. Just a gentle lift. If we lose our balance, we just get up and try again. Reach through the fingertips. And we can stay, or inhale and exhale, open up towards that bent leg. Reach the hands in opposite directions. Same thing here. So as the hands really reach, we feel the front of that back shoulder peel open. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Now slowly drop that back hand and that right foot. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bring our elbows into the ribs. Lift that chest. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands, take the feet to the back of the mat. Shift forward. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Hang here for a breath or two. And we're going to work on a little strength in the upper body here. So if we're not sure about that down dog, again, we know that we should be able to shift easily from our plank to our down dog. Most people should be able to shift without having to adjust their feet. If our heels aren't touching, the only reason why they're kind of touching is because the grass is pushing up on my mat. But sometimes our body's anatomy isn't there, or our body's just not ready to get there yet. We're just releasing the heels towards the mat and not letting the tension stay in our feet. Lift the tailbone high, even if that means that our knees need to bend a little bit. We'd much rather have a really long upper body here and bent legs than we would have straight legs but rounding in our spine. We round all day long. We don't want to do that even more. All right. Slowly lift those heels high. Exhale, bend the knees so they're just hovering over the mat. Press away through the hands. Press the tailbone back. So our knees are just hovering right over that mat. Now lift the tailbone high and come right back down. We're going to do that again, or we'll add on. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees and the elbows. So the elbows are going to hover right over the mat. Squeeze the elbows in like we're squeezing a beach ball between them. And then lift right back. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend elbows and knees. Squeeze those elbows in. Knees are right over the mat, but lift that tailbone. Feel that rounding in our spine a little more. It's a lot of work, right? Lift and press back. Again, inhale, lift the heels. Bend the knees, hover. Squeeze those elbows in. Lift the tailbone. We're just hovering right over the mat, staying for a couple breaths, lifting back. And one more. Lift. Bend the knees. We're going to stay a little longer. Bend the elbows. Hug those elbows in. Feel the shaking. Lift the tailbone higher, but keep the elbows and knees low without dropping. Whew, who feels that shaking? Find that down dog. Okay, so watch this next one. It's really hard. So we're going to shift forward. We're going to drop our knees. We're going to open our knees wide, and then we're going to bring our toes together, and we're going to sit back in child's pose because I love you. All right. But this is an active child's pose because I'm not that nice. And what that means is we're lengthening our spine here, and we're resting. We're actively resting, though. So we're not fully relaxing our upper body. We're pressing into our hands. We're walking the hands out, and we're keeping the forearms off the mat. We're keeping our neck long, though. So if we notice the shoulders are next to the ears, pull those shoulders away. Squeeze the scapula, the shoulder blades together, and feel the spine lengthen between the thighs rather than rounding over them. That's why we wanted to open the knees wider than their toes. All right, slowly come right back up. Pull those knees in. Lift the knees. Down dog. Lift the heels really high. Bend the knees. Look between the thumbs and tiptoe the feet all the way up to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, bend the knees. Take our time to slowly come up so the upper body can just hang. Our head's been below our heart for a while, so we might be a little dizzy. Shoulders roll up, back, and down. And we move on to our next video.